Damn it.
F, man. I'll tell you what. They ruined my last Sunday, and now they've ruined this Saturday. This one was tough from start to finish.
Mother's Day is canceled.
Mother's Day. Sorry, Mom.
Sorry, Mom.
It's not you.
It's gonna take a day. It's gonna take a day or two to get over this one. This sucked.
Mom, you wouldn't like me tomorrow, okay? You don't want to see me tomorrow, Mom. Okay. This one sucked. This was an ugly first half, horrific third quarter, and a pretty inspiring fourth quarter. But just the missed opportunities. How many opportunities did these guys have at the end of the game? The smart free throw that he missed, the smart three, the Jaylen Brown three, the Jaylen Brown drive that he got. I don't know if he got fouled or if he just lost the ball or got blocked at the rim. And then the second Marcus Smart free throw that he purposely missed. He had 12 opportunities at the rim. Grab the ball and put it up. Put it in.
Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah. I know. Everyone's going to freak about the officiating. Listen, guys, we can't do that. The Celtics had 34 free throws. Milwaukee had 17. It's just that's not going to play. That being said, the Giannis stuff is ridiculous because it changes everything. It changes how you play defense. It changes what you do. It's ridiculous what Giannis gets away with, but also, that it's just it's not new. It's what happens. It's just insane because the Celtics are playing him pretty clean.
He just plays ball. That's it. That's his game. Bully ball. I mean, just how many of those? Again, we talked about it after game 2. Just drives to the rim, bullies himself, backs people down. There's only so much you can do. I mean, the Celtics are trying as they may. But like you said, John, I mean, if they're going to let him just bulldoze his way to the rim, back people down and all that stuff, then there's not much you can do. That being said,
I'm not doing the refs lost us the game thing. They didn't. They didn't. The refs are frustrating, and the way they call it's a hard game to call, yes, because he does it on every play. So like they said in game 2, they were kind of joking about it. The announcers are like, I guess Van Gundy's like, so I guess they've just decided not to call charges on him. They kind of decided that again. It feels like they've decided that for the series. He just gets to do that, and then you have to that is now the new rules of basketball, and that you have to play by it, and that's that. And it sucks. It sucks. But you're going to look at what the Celtics didn't do that got them here. Again, you want to put the positive spin on it, Jimmy? Tatum sucked. Marcus sucked. Okay. Rob was all over the place.
Positive so far.
Rob was all over the place, just a sloppy mess. No control of anything he was doing. He had some moments there too. The refs didn't help. About as bad an offense as you would get. They went ice freaking cold from 3, ice cold. And it came down to this. You took a 40-point game and some questionable officiating, and you still only lose by this on the road. If you're a Celtics fan, you got to be like, okay, what's Milwaukee got to do to beat us? Because this is as bad. We served this one up for them, and they barely snuck out a win at home by 2 points. So, yes, you'll feel good, but you got to stack wins. It's a 7-game series. You're down 2-1 right now, so you can't have moral victories. You got to look at what happened. No. It starts and ends with me with Tatum. Tatum has even an average game, and they win going away. You can't allow another team to take you out of your game as bad as Tatum was taken out of this one.
And we saw that with Tatum, like not really at all the second half of the season, but at points last season, at points at the beginning of this year, just a horrific sort of game, which is like one of those like 2 for whatevers or 3 for whatevers, and it's just like superstars don't play this way. It just felt like he was out in left field all day. I mean, he was just kind of standing around on the defensive end. I mean, he tried to, D up against Drew Holiday. Don't try to flop and just, you know what I mean? Like take the easy way out.
He stepped on his foot there, I think. So, yeah, but yeah.
Whatever. Either way, I mean, that was just another poor effort right there. And there's easy 2 buckets for Holiday, and that was the difference in the game. I mean, there's so many different ways. You want to talk about Tatum right now, fine. I want to touch upon a million other things too, but Tatum's the reason they lost this.
You go in whatever direction you want to go in. That's the first one.
I mean, that's the most, obvious, finger point you can make today is the 10 points from your superstar player, 4 of 19 from the field, 0 of 6 from 3, non-existent down the stretch.
You can't be that.
You had Al Horford going back in time today to try to keep the Celtics in this game and bring them back in the fourth quarter. It was an unbelievable performance by him. And Tatum's just there along for the ride in the passenger seat or in the back seat even. I mean, come on, man. This is the playoffs, okay? This is when you take it to the next level. You don't take it down a notch, And we know what Tatum's capable. We've seen him play well in the playoffs before, but you can't put together a performance.
Can't be this bad.
Can't be this bad. Like you said, even if he was just average, even if he just 18 points on 6 of 15, you know what I mean? Like, don't even have to put a great performance together, but to be a negative out there from start to finish really is just, it's almost impossible to come back. And the Celtics, credit to them, they almost did. I mean, they had every opportunity down the stretch. Again, missed shots, missed at the rim, missed free throws. I mean, man, I still can't believe that last 4-second sequence at the rim there. I mean, I screaming at the TV like, put it in, and just that summed up the game. Just the frustratingness.
All of it. You have the chance to take the lead. You miss a free throw late. Again, all of the run that leads up to getting to where you were, you're still not executing at the very end there. Fine. You give up a drive with Giannis. Ime doesn't call a timeout. Jalen goes the other way. Jalen was, huge in the comeback, but he also just blindly went to the rim on multiple possessions. Just kind of, you got stuff. And he gets blocked by the rim because he's too deep on his drive. Okay, fine, whatever. That's another miss. Then, as you said, the kind of bad luck there with Tatum getting stepped on and Holiday hitting a tough floater over Horford. Yeah, but again, multiple attempts at the rim there on those tips. You got Rob's got to put that friggin' thing home, man. But that stuff. That's one sequence. If you look at the thing that happened all game long, it was Tatum's inability to figure it out, Tatum stopping completely, trying to take any shots at the rim because he's lost, Tatum passing up good shots for worse shots, then taking bad shots on his own, trying to ISO his way back into the game, taking the entire offense out of the flow. He just allowed himself to be affected. And because of that, it affects everything. So you can have games where you're not scoring and you're not hitting it and still doing other stuff. Move the friggin' ball around, man. But he's searching for it. He's looking to get out of it. And it was just terrible all game. Almost every shot, you were like, ugh, not great. Just bad choices all day long.
From Tatum, I think he was the one who made that pass to Smart at the end for the wide
open. He did.
Yeah, I mean that was the right play, and Smart's got to hit that shot, man. I mean, you just got to hit a wide open three in that situation. I mean, it's a shot that he's hit, thousands of times. He's missed thousands of times too.
And again, and the complaining, and then one time the friggin', he sits there and he misses a layup and he sulks and it goes back the other way and he's the last guy back on defense and Holiday hits a three. You just can't have that. Grant did it earlier in the game. Tatum did it. Just guys, there's a playbook. Okay, you played by it. There's the bad playbook and then the winning playbook. Okay, every time you do the stuff in the winning playbook, you win. And every time you do stuff in the bad one, you lose. It's that easy. The sulking, not moving the ball on offense, not getting back on defense, shots early in the clock, bad. ISO, bad. Moving the ball.
Bad.
Yes, bad. Moving the ball, getting back. And again, the formula for them, Milwaukee's short right now, man. They're there for the taking. Okay, with your defense alone, Milwaukee cannot distance itself from you. It's a team that averaged 115 points in the regular season, and they had to do everything in their power to crack 100. They cannot. They're not putting up big numbers on you. You have to just play basic offense to beat this team right now. That's all you have to do, and they can do it. And so this game shows it again, because it's as bad as you can play offensively and still stay in it. I didn't see the final numbers, but about 4 minutes left to go in the in the game. There were 0 assists from either point guard. Smart ended up with 2.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how that ended either, but yeah, I mean, whether it's ball movement or what, I'm not sure, but I just thought they just didn't play a complete game today. It was so ugly in that first half. I mean, I know that they competed, but
rock fight, they hung in there. That third quarter killed them, right?
The third, I don't know. That was very I was surprised to see that showing in that third quarter.
Right?
It was very, it's not the way Ime gets these guys coming out of the half a lot. So I was definitely surprised to see that. And And, again, credit to the Celtics for that fourth quarter turnaround. I didn't think they had it in them just based on how that third quarter went, really the first three quarters. I was like, there's no way these guys have enough offense in the tank to come back from this. But again, to your point, John, the Bucks have trouble putting these guys away. Middleton being out is a huge reason for that. But with Giannis aside, I mean, Holiday obviously as well. It's a two-man team right now, it feels like, with the Bucks, Giannis and Holiday. Yeah, you might get a random point from Portis or Connaughton, but other than that, I mean, you should be able to compete with these guys. You should be able to beat these guys. And again, it goes back to Tatum just completely essing the beat today. And I can't figure out how or why. I mean, after all the time off you guys just had, there's no excuse to show up today and look like you're half asleep out there on the court. I mean, you just got to be.
Who was this friggin' guy Zarba, by the way? Holy crap. Like, I'm like longing for the days of freaking of what's his name? Who's the other guy? I've just lost my mind. The other ref. Jesus Christ, Foster. I'm like longing for Scott Foster after that game.
Oh, well, he might have been more of part of it than you think.
Yeah.
No, the refs were
that guy, man. Ime's complaining about it after the game too. Is basically like, Ime said the officials told him if they don't fall down, we're not going to call it as far as the charge goes. So they're just not calling it. So it's again, I mean, I tweeted it earlier. It's got to be a flop fest. You've just got to flop. You got to be smart. The Celtics are tough as nails, and they pride themselves on having big bodies who can stay in front of guys like Giannis. And they've done an amazing job and a really admirable job doing it. But Giannis committed like 14 fouls today, and he does every friggin' game. So you got to buy a few, and you got to start flopping. And it sucks, but that's what they got to do.
It's what they got to do. But again, you know how they're going to call it now. So adjust, don't get frustrated. Again, they're falling into bad habits where they get frustrated at the refs. And now they're looking at the refs, complaining about calls, complaining about non-calls, not getting back on defense, letting the Bucks run up and down the court. I didn't look to see what those splits were today in terms of like fast break and points off turnovers and things like that. But it just feels like whenever the Celtics fall into those habits, they lose the game. And that is exactly, again, the same thing that happened tonight. So
let's bring in Sherrod too. What's up, Sherrod?
What's up, Sherrod? 21.
Can't hear you right now. Check the audio real quick, Sherrod. Jimmy, what were you saying while Sherrod checks in here?
Yeah, I was just talking about how the Celtics fall into bad habits. The Bucks almost doubled their fast break points against the Celtics. Points in the paint tonight, and a lot of that was Giannis, obviously, but that was a big discrepancy because Giannis is just able to do whatever he wants. But you have to just figure out a way to defend him. More importantly, take care of business on your own end too. I mean, that's really what it comes down to. If Giannis is going to drop 40 and they're going to win by 1 or 2, then you'll take that because theoretically you should be able to, Tatum should be able to have a much better game than he had today. You should be able to get more production from a guy like Jaylen Brown as well. We haven't really gone too much either, but he doesn't completely look himself out there at all times either.
No, and at the end he looked stiff again, like he was hobbling around.
Right. So, I mean, there's like you said, the opportunities were there for the taking today. It's not John, I don't know what you were saying earlier, but like, there's no silver linings in this game to me. I mean, yeah, you could say, oh, well, at least
the silver linings is Celtics played like ass. They got a bad whistle.
Yeah, they're not like happy about the way the game ended.
Shots didn't fall. Tatum played his worst game in months. They lost by 2.
Nobody's happy about this loss. I mean, they on the other end, there's no excuse to play like that. There's no excuse to play like that in the playoffs. So yeah, you can be like, oh well, if only we didn't. If we just played a little bit better, we would have won. Yeah, well, why the hell did you play like that? Like, it's the playoffs. It's game 3. It's a pivotal game. I mean, this is how you get home court advantage back in your favor. You got to win one of these 2 games.
People are talking about, I've been back and forth with some people here, kind of with the execution, and the Celtics have the ball there and a chance to kind of extend a lead. And there was that swing where Tatum made a good pass to Marcus Smart for a wide open 3, and everyone's saying that's a good shot. It was an open shot, no doubt about it. Earlier in that possession, though, you had Jason Tatum. Again, Jason Tatum was so off in terms of being able to understand what was going on in the game and when his opportunities were there and what to take and what to give. He had a wide open 3 attempt because Connaughton got swung around on a pick and he was facing in the wrong direction when Tatum caught it at the break there, just above the break. And he could have pulled straight up to shoot, but in his mind, he knows he's cold, so he didn't do it. Works it around. You get a missed Jaylen Brown 3. Grant gets a rebound with inside position on a putback attempt, doesn't even think about putting it back, swings it back around, Tatum to Smart for the three. They had better shots to take in that possession, and they didn't take them, okay? So it is what it is there. That was a blown possession. Everyone's saying, oh, that Smart three was a good three. No, they blew that possession. They had better opportunities there.
It was a wide open three, regardless of whether or not they had.
And it is.
Down.
Yeah.
It should go down. I mean, is Smart the first option you want taking the shot? No, but they swung the ball. It ended up.
But Grant had a bunny layup right before that and didn't think about it because whatever's going on in the paint there, Milwaukee, they're intimidated of Milwaukee and they won't do it. They passed up floaters and layups all game long and were just kicking out. They were driving to kick and they had decided they were driving to kick regardless of what was available to them, and they did it all game long. So then Milwaukee's in their head a little bit here with some of the block shots earlier in the series. They're just not going to the rim.
They're not. And I mean, you're right. I mean, whenever there's an offensive rebound, I feel like it's a little bit of a mayhem situation there. Guys, whipping the ball around, trying to figure out where guys are. I'm not upset with Grant dishing it back out. I mean, yeah, you want to have the mentality where you grab the board in a specific spot and put it back up. But I mean, the Bucks are also pretty big, whether it's Brook Lopez, whether it's Giannis, whether it's Holiday, Connaughton's good side. There's players out there that can put a body on you pretty quickly. And Grant's not the biggest guy. So I'm fine with him.
I get it. He got a little squeamish there. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm fine with him pulling it back out and trying to get a clean shot, which they did. That's what I mean. But you add the shot, you bricked it.
But all game, more floaters, more mid-range. Get into the paint and pull up. Do something. They're driving to kick only, which means they're over-reliant on the three, and they're missing opportunities to put up shots or to take it all the way to the basket. And they did that all game. It was a really weird offensive game. They couldn't get in the flow. Credit Milwaukee. Milwaukee's defense looked like the Celtics defense in the first half. Everywhere Brown or Tatum went, there was two guys waiting for him. They couldn't get moving at all. They couldn't beat anybody off the dribble. They couldn't get to their spots. They just couldn't do it. So Milwaukee was great. That first half, I would have cried if I had to play offense against either of those two teams. It looked so difficult. Every point scored by either team was so hard to get. So that was, again, but figure it out.
Right.
Your stars. Figure it out.
I mean, you knew.
I'm going to go ahead, Jimmy. I'm trying Sherrod again here and see if he's okay.
All right. Let's see.
You guys hear me okay?
We got you. Yep.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
All right.
Jimmy, finish what you were saying there. We got Sherrod in here.
Yeah,
Bobby and Josue are also in Milwaukee. They'll be joining us in a little bit. But go ahead, Jimmy.
Real quick, I think in the regular season, John, we even said, the Celtics are scoring at an unbelievable pace right now, but that's because a lot of teams just aren't picking it up on defense like they will in the playoffs, and we're seeing it right now. The Celtics are still, in my opinion, the best defensive team out there right now, but other teams are picking it up. The Bucks can go toe-to-toe with you on the defensive end. They bang down low. They're big bodies. They're extremely, just sound on the defensive end of things, and we're seeing that now. So you're not going to get these regular season style offensive, performances from both teams. It's going to be a rock fight like it kind of was today.
Yep.
What's up, Sherrod?
Sherrod,
What's up, guys?
First impressions here. We've talked about a little bit about all of it, just kind of some appetizers here to get us started while we wait for you guys to join. What were your prime takeaways here?
To me, the biggest thing you take away from this is we've been used to seeing top five Tatum. Not today. This was more like just torture chamber Tatum. He was horrible. In every sense of the word, and you give the Bucks defense credit. They did a good job with him, but there were shots that he had were open, lightly contested that he just could not make. This was a game where basically they needed 5 minutes of top five Tatum, and they could steal this one.
That's a great way to put it, Sherrod. You felt for as bad as he was, both missing his shots and not recognizing when he had good shots, not recognizing when he was forcing it, not recognizing when he needed to move it. The body language, all of that stuff, not getting back on D, all of the stuff he did that was just the worst version of Tatum, the stuff that would kill us from early in the year that you'd see pop up from time to time. That's all you needed. You felt like if he just went on that little stretch where he knocked down a couple threes and got it going all game, that's all you needed. And it never came. And
I love what I saw to Grant Williams. We've been talking all season long about they need a tough guy. They need someone who's just not going to just let stuff go by and just let it happen. And he was really physical out there. And that's what this again. They need to see more of that. But really, this game, we could talk about all the different shortcomings and all that. Bottom line, Tatum didn't get it done. That's the story. He did not get it done, and the Bucks had a lot to do with that. But a lot of it was also on Tatum. He's got to be better. He has to be better.
That's you're a top 5 guy. Your first team All NBA, very likely. You're in the MVP conversation. You can have off nights, but you got to be able to impact the game in some way. He didn't impact it in almost any way all night long. You can't be a 0. He was close to a 0, bordering on a detriment, which is crazy to think. He just didn't help him at all. Your view on the officiating, I know people are hot on it. Look, and I know it comes with the territory when you play a guy like Giannis. It's a different set of rules. You have to accept that. Do you think it's gone beyond what's acceptable?
This is what happens whenever you play them. He's going to get a number of what I call 50-50 calls, ones where you can make an argument either way. He's going to get the majority of those. But that doesn't, to me, you can talk about that all you want to, but that has nothing to do with Tatum missing open shots. That has nothing to do with Tatum not doing the things that the Celtics' best player should have been doing. Yeah, Giannis could have got every single call he got tonight, and you still could have won this game if your best player actually played halfway decent. So, look, if it's to me, blaming the officiating is like comfort food. Yeah, if it feels good, tastes good, but in reality, it doesn't do you any good.
Yeah,
it's pointless. So,
the Celtics had 2-1 in free throws. Okay, so again, you have to look at
Sherrod.
Yeah.
What's that?
It's like some mac and cheese, a big old bowl of mac and cheese. Just blame the refs. Just feel sorry for yourself.
Mac and cheese. You know what's my favorite comfort food? It's too early in the show to get into foods, but I love me a plate of spaghetti bolognese.
Wow, bolognese. Look at you.
Oh my God, my little pasta with meat sauce, number 1. I'm gonna go make some right now because I need to feel. I need to feel. I want someone to hold me. Yeah. I need to feel better. I need a hug. I need a food hug. So I agree, Sherrod. I don't like blaming the refs. I think the Celtics, they got some decent whistles too. It's just the Giannis stuff. It just kills you because it feels like it's cheating. If they're going to allow it, and some of these are not just 50-50s. They're just charges they're choosing not to call. And it just is what it is. He's slamming into people who have every right to be where they're standing, and he gets the whistle. I just don't think if you're going to do it, my opinion is if you're going to not call the charge, you have to just basically accept that it's going to be a physical game and call nothing.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
You got to just let them play. You've decided we're letting them play football today, and it's going to be a contact sport. So if Giannis does that, I'm not calling it either way. You cannot call blocks on that. That's my only beef. Okay. Can't do it.
Yeah.
Because you're allowing him to just buy calls. All of these are wrong. He had at least 5 charges tonight. At least 5.
Yeah. And charges typically are defined by the lowering of the shoulder.
Yeah,
and he's the best at that. There's no one who does that better than him. So.
Well, that's the thing, John. If you call it neither way, then it's gonna look like a football game out there, because there's so much contact. And if you're gonna allow one guy, or if you're gonna allow that type of a contact in that aspect of the game, then it's gonna get pretty chippy, I think, quickly. So it's a tough situation because they obviously want to allow Giannis to do his thing, and they want the superstars to be the superstars. This is the only way Giannis can be a superstar. We've talked about it numerous times. This is the only part of his game really
dad ball
transforms him into superstar level on the offensive end. He doesn't have an outside game. He doesn't have, way to create space and step backs and all that stuff. Like, he bullies his way to the rim 90% of the time. I mean, I'm not saying that's the only part of his game, but let's be honest, that's his bread and butter, if you will.
Yeah, it's Shaq stuff,
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, and if they're going to allow it, then fine. Why not? I mean, if you're him, you might as well do it. He's not going to be the guy that's going to just step back and drain threes in your face all game.
Well, see here, but the thing I keep coming back to is this: all that is true. All of that happened tonight, and yet you still, if you're the Celtics, could have won this game. So I'm not going to give I'm not going to put this on any way, shape, or form on the officiating because did they have a great game? Hell no. But there are very few games where the officials do have a good game. Bottom line is this: you didn't get the job done if you're the Celtics. That is the reality. I'm not going to blame the officials because, did they play a role? Absolutely. But so did the fact that your best player had 10 points on 19 shots taken. That kind of had – so I can't get any anger up at the officials.
I agree.
Again,
I mean, Sherrod, I led with Tatum because I thought that's the thing that happened all game long that was the most glaring. Which was I didn't think it was a good smart game by any means. I didn't think it was a good Rob game. I thought Rob, despite having some empty calorie stats early in the game, was kind of all over the place. Just didn't seem. He's just still out of sorts. It's kind of like the streaky Rob from points of time last year or even 2 years ago. He's not locked in right now. He's still, his rhythm is totally off, since coming back. It's just not there. Obviously, Ime had to make a quick switch with him too because they needed shooting out there early. So he tried to go only one big when he pulled Rob off the floor and put Grant in there. Then he tried a 3 big lineup too. So he was trying some different things.
He was reaching.
Yeah, he was reaching, trying to find something to generate something because the Bucks were stymieing them all game, but it all comes back to your best players. Jalen turned it on late, but your best players just couldn't get anything going for you on offense. So Ime just went in his bag for whatever he could try to find to get something going. Pritchard, I don't even know if he couldn't get anything going offensively. So there's just not much there. You just don't have enough firepower to have such a dud game from Tatum. And I'm going to keep coming back to that as the number one thing that's just, you just can't have it.
Your guy,
and you got a great game from Al. I mean, Al, 22, 16, and 5. I mean, this was like 26-year-old Al up there. This was like a decade ago Al. The way he was scoring, getting the spots, running the floor. And you feel, if you're Tatum and if you're the rest of the guys, you feel like you let one of those vintage classic Al Horford games go. Because you're not going to get 22, 16, and 5 from him. No, you may not even get that from him the rest of the series.
But you don't need it. You shouldn't need it,
Right.
Well, your guy, John, Derek White, did everything he could off the bench today. Scoring-wise, I know that's
White was good, man.
Topic, but he actually scored 14 points tonight. So I liked this version.
Are you sure the 0 point plus 22 Derek White wasn't better? Because that's what my mentions were all about before that, okay?
Well,
when we criticized last game.
Too, actually, John. He was way more effective.
Did you see his plus minus, John? Plus 22, dude. No, this was a Derek White who looked for his shot. He got to the lane. He hit a couple mid-range. He hit 1 3. He got to the free throw line. He knocked down his free throws. He drew a couple fouls. He was
way
more aggressive. You need that. You need him to come in and do all the stuff he does, which we all know that he does, which is play defense, help move the ball, keep the ball moving on offense. He's very quick with it. He's not running the offense, but he's keeping it moving. He does that when he doesn't score. Then you also want him to score some. So this was a much better Derek White game in that regard because he actually scored a point or two. Okay.
How pissed are the Derek White fans that he scored today?
I know, right?
Must be livid that he actually scored. They can't say, well, actually, he does other things well.
Dude, he doesn't need to score.
No,
that's not what they traded for him, actually.
Well, in this series,
dude, you guys don't know ball.
Derek has a mismatch in terms of size over almost everyone he's matched up with.
Yes,
and he wisely drives into the paint and raises up for the mid range. That just makes sense.
Yeah, that makes sense because he can't get all the way to the rim on these guys. He's got to do that,
and he's not a good 3-point shooter. So play to your strengths if you're him, which is
exactly. Hang on 1 second, guys. I'm coming right back.
Sherrod, to what you said earlier, we've never on this show have we spent a whole lot of time on officials because it's the easy way out. Like you said, it's comfort food. It's rarely the reason you lose an entire game, and it wasn't the reason today. The difference today was that there are a number of questionable calls or non-calls.
Yeah.
I thought, for example, Marcus Smart should have went to the line for three free throws there. I thought that he got hacked on the arm. So you can have, and I'm sure that the when they come out with the review at the, where they,
they're gonna, the 2-minute review.
They'll be like, our bad, he got hacked, and that should have been a shooting foul. And that's not going to mean it's not going to change anything. But I don't know. It feels like in that situation there should be some sort of booth review like they do in football. And I hate slowing down the game with a bunch of reviews, but something like that can really change the way the game end. So, I mean, it's too bad that they missed the call, but we're not going to talk about the refs for 45 minutes to an hour. Like you said, they were in that position because of what happened way before. Tatum missing all those shots in the game and the opportunities they had down the stretch. Marcus Smart missed a wide open three. Jaylen Brown missed a wide open three. Jaylen Brown missed at the rim. Smart missed a free throw accidentally, not the one that he missed on purpose. And then the one that he missed on purpose. How many opportunities did they have at the rim there? I think they even had a timeout. Am I wrong? They had a timeout left at the end of that game where they could have probably grabbed the ball and
you're not
left.
You're not gonna call a timeout in that situation because the last thing you want to see is a structured defense. You're much better off getting something.
I get it, but Marcus Smart falling to the left on that fadeaway wasn't great. If I was Marcus, I might have just settled it, if not the timeout.
Because it was going on in that.
It was just hectic with him. I mean, the chance of Marcus hitting a catch and shoot rebound attempt falling to his left. It's a 20% shot, he's just not going to hit that. So I didn't love it, but it is what it is.
Yeah, and I mean, he gave them a shot. I mean, when they really, again, their defense let them down there. But the other thing, too, that I thought really stood out in this game is just, let's be honest, there's a certain amount of luck that you got to have to win. I mean, those loose balls that wound up in Drew Holiday's hands, you can't defend against that. That shit just happens. And I give Drew a lot of credit. He's a good enough player where he's going to make the most of those opportunities. He had a couple of shots like that. And so little things like that cripple you, particularly when your best player plays as bad as Jason Tatum did. So.
Facts, my dog.
Facts, my dog.
That's it. I mean,
yeah.
I'm glad Game 4 is right around the corner because this is one that you don't want this to marinate too long.
Yeah, except for the fact that Tatum broke his wrist and Brown's friggin' stiffened up at the end of the game and couldn't walk, and Smart's still not entirely right, and Rob got 3 concussions tonight.
That blow he took from Portis, I was shocked he was able to come back. I mean, that was a really hard hit, and it was inadvertent. It wasn't in the malicious or anything.
I don't care. Toss him.
Yeah, other than all those things, let's play ball. I mean, right?
You can't hit Rob like that. I can't. I'm not going to allow that.
What did you think of Sherrod? What did you think? How do you think Marcus looked out there? Coming back from the contusion.
Bad. He didn't defensively. I didn't think he had any type of significant impact or put his imprint at that end of the floor. Offensively, he was off his game after he picked up those 2 quick fouls and headed to the bench. He was never the same from a rhythm standpoint after that. This was a bad game for him. There's no getting around that. He's got to be better. Game 4, Tatum has to be a lot better. They need their core guys. They're face of the franchise guys. They have to be better.
What about Brown? I mean, we haven't mentioned him a whole lot, which some fans, some people in the chat always like to comment on. But, I mean, 27 points tonight. Again, towards the end, he missed a couple there.
Saved him late, though. Without him, they're not even close on that.
Oh, that's what I mean. No,
that comeback attempt without Jaylen, they're toast.
Yeah, I mean, he stepped up when the game was absolutely up in the air, and they were about to get their asses blown out, and he brought them back from the dead, basically. And Al Horford, he did his. They needed their best player in the fourth quarter to be the best player.
Bobby always talks about this on Brown. And it's funny. I know rebounds sometimes is whatever rebounds. He actually did grab a ton of rebounds in that first half when he wasn't scoring. But Bobby talks about this with Brown all the time. When things are going really poorly, you have a couple versions of Brown. You get first quarter Brown who just comes in lights out and friggin' goes bananas. Then sometimes you don't see it consistently throughout the game. Then you have Brown who, when nothing is falling from outside, he says, "Screw it, I'm going downhill." And that's vital, where he does that, because you need some easy buckets. You need somebody to go in and to draw contact and to get some points in the paint there. And he does that. Even though the 3 wasn't falling, he did that, and they needed it really badly in this game. And so, a couple out of control possessions where they're driving without really a clue where they're going. And that's going to happen. I always kind of excuse Jaylen for that because he's got to play fast. And when he does that, sometimes he's going to play sloppy. It just stinks when it happens at a time when it's a really critical possession. And man, did you need a good shot, that time. And obviously late in that game there, he drove too deep. He got caught under the rim. He had really no chance of getting that ball up. So it wasn't ideal on that one, but he was huge for them.
Yeah. And again, another really good game overall that is down the toilet. You can't have some of your guys play as well as they did tonight and not find a way to win, particularly when Milwaukee left the door open way longer than I thought they should for you to steal this one.
They didn't close them out at all.
So,
I mean, they
incredible.
Incredible. Done. And yeah, Brown, like you guys have said about Brown, and this goes back to the first series against the Nets. He's been, in my opinion, like super Mr. Consistent. I mean, not necessarily from start to finish always throughout games, but throughout the postseason so far, he's been really consistent. He's been, productive for them. 27 points again today, like you said in that fourth quarter, just came up huge. I mean, him and Al those two guys willed this team back to victory, and it was like night and day watching Brown and Tatum today. It really was. Like Brown, all up and down the court, driving to the basket, physical, and then it kind of felt like Tatum was standing around a lot. Almost felt like it looked like he had the flu or something else.
He got in his own head, man. It was sulky. My shot's not falling, and that's going to affect every part of my game, Tatum. Yeah. I can't believe we saw this guy again because I thought he was gone. Right. We just hadn't. We saw this so much in the first half of the season. I can't believe he returned in the playoffs here. I just didn't see that happening. I didn't see it happening.
Yeah, it's clear that Milwaukee and their interior defenders are in his head because I can't remember as many times I've seen Tatum in this series dribble, drive, get into the paint, and kick it out. He's not even
amazing.
He's not even looking to shoot the floater. He's just not going to do it. And it's one thing to have trust in your teammates, but damn, have trust in yourself. Have trust in your float game. Have trust in your ability to score over a Giannis, over a Brook Lopez. Because guess what? They may block your shot once or twice, but at some point they're going to foul you. At some point you're going to score. So you need to do your best to put yourself in position to take advantage of that. And I didn't think he did.
Right. And when he is going, he's kind of like early years Tatum, where he's trying to get cute with the finish. He's not going strong as he was. He's not doing his little side steps and his finishes and this and that. And you're right. It's all about that. I've been saying this since game one. The floater in the mid-range, you have to recognize what the Bucks are doing, and this is what they're doing. They're throwing bodies at you when they don't want you to get into the paint, so they're having a tough time turning the corner on these guys as is, because every time he does, a double come or someone will flash, and there's just a lot of people in his face. But when he does get in there, that's what he's got to do. He's just got to rise up and just knock down friggin' free throw jumpers or little floaters, and make people come out and challenge that. And when they do, you might have a big come open if they come up and, or you're just going to have that shot all game long. But it really feels like they're only driving to kick right now, and they've given up the notion of scoring in the paint, which is a mistake, I think. It wasn't just him. Marcus gave up a couple of layups too. They were just driving. I'm like, oh my God, it was right there. They gave it to you and you didn't take it. And they're passing up good shots for worse shots. They did it way too often tonight.
Yeah. And those times when they were able to actually get into the lane along the baseline, they're, again, looking to kick out as opposed to using the rim as a screener and try to score on the other side. Because if you beat your defender and he's behind you, he's trailing, you don't just lay it up because he could pin it on the glass. But if you use the other side of the rim, which Drew Holiday did a couple of times, which was brilliant, you got a chance to score or you get fouled. And they did not play a smart game out there.
We should give Wes Matthews a little credit too for the defense he's been playing.
Better than you expected, right?
This is like flashback to 5-10 years ago. He's never been this good.
No,
this is like vintage Blazers Wes Matthews here. And like I just saw a stat. Tatum was 0 for 10 with Matthews on him today. So
that should never happen.
No, but Tatum's obviously letting that bother him. I mean, he must be frustrated with Wes Matthews got the assignment. And he's coming from a homeschool guy. You get the assignment, you focus on that assignment, and you get the grade at the end of the day. Stamp a little A on that piece of paper because Wes Matthews did his job today. He's getting a huge opportunity with Middleton being out, and he's doing everything he can to stay on the court. Because he's not doing it on the offensive end. He's doing it solely on the defensive end.
Which is a shocker because for most of his career, he was a sniper who was marginal defensively. But he's been good. But he's also smart enough to know where his help is coming from. And Tatum, to such extent, is making it easier for him because he's not attacking him. He's not using the fact that he's 6'8" and this dude is like 6'4", 6'5" to just get him on the elbow and shoot right over him. That's literally all he could do, because if you do that defense that Milwaukee plays, which is really good, they can't double you on that elbow because if they do that, someone is going to be wide open in one of the corners or on the wing. So they've got to be smarter about just recognizing mismatches and putting Milwaukee in a pick your poison type of situation, which they just didn't do in Game 3 at all.
Right.
Yeah, hard to argue with that. Take a quick pause. We'll let everybody know once again. Please support our sponsors here. You guys don't feel like cooking, or maybe you don't feel like cooking a Mother's Day meal, or you couldn't get a reservation in time. Boom, HelloFresh. Okay, get fresh food delivered to your door, pre-packaged, pre-portioned, menu cards, exactly what you need to do to turn this fresh food into a delicious meal. Sherrod, a little background noise. I muted you real quick. But in order to do that and for us to get credit, we really need you to go to HelloFresh.com/playoff16. 16 wins. They need 16 wins. They've got 5, so they need...
Oh, they just lost again. So does that change the total?
It's the same. It's still 9, right, Jimmy? Just kidding.
Still 9. Gotcha.
Anyway, 11.
16 meals, guys. That's like
16 meals.
That's like 2 days worth of meals for John. Like, that's a pretty good deal.
It's like 13 CDs for a penny. Okay, go get that. 16 meals. HelloFresh.com/playoff16. Use the code playoff16. 16 free meals and 3 free gifts. Go get some. As we said, really good stuff delivered to your door. We all got ourselves a package deal. Made some nice tacos. Made some nice pasta. Some meatloaf. Really good stuff all around. So please check it out.
That's what I got.
Yep, that was good.
They called it.
Yeah. So again, back to the game again. Do you feel better about... Sherrod, I'll ask you, do you feel better about the series going forward after today's game or worse?
About the same. I don't feel any better or worse about it because I figured that they were probably going to split one here, which means they're going to lose one. This was the one. I don't think that they're going to have as many struggling players as we saw in this game. Tatum is going to be better. I think Marcus Smart will be better. I don't know if you're going to get an Al Horford type game in Game 4. But your core guys have to be better. And I'm speaking specifically about Marcus and Jason. They have to be better. And I think they will be in Game 4 because this is a game that there's no doubt it left a bitter taste in their mouth. And because they deserve this loss. They put themselves in the position to lose this game. And they damn near were able to steal it. And that, again, I expect them to win Game 4.
All right. Yeah, I mean, and look, at the end of the day, you come out of Milwaukee 2-2, you're feeling okay, and that's what you should be doing. But you put the pressure on yourself here, and this was one that would have been amazing to steal considering just playing like ass for so much of it. Again, Milwaukee didn't play great in the first half either, but after that third quarter, it just didn't feel like the Celtics were going to be able to generate any offense, at all. They just what they were doing didn't resemble offense. It was just as bad as that third quarter is maybe the worst quarter they played in 5 months. So that was all around brutal. Credit to them for turning it around and pulling it together. Once again, CLNS Media here, Garden Report. We do one of these post-game shows after every single game. We've been doing it for years. So come hang out with us. Tell your friends if you're interested in talking. We got Milwaukee fans in the chat, so bring it. Bring it.
We got Bucks fans in here.
Oh my God, they're killing. They're telling us we're whining about the refs. And Sherrod and I both said we're not using the refs as an excuse, but I know the chat is bummed.
I said that too.
I know. Fine. All of us agree. You're not putting it on the chat. Celtics have to be better. Milwaukee, it was an ugly game. It was a rock fight. Milwaukee executed down the stretch. Celtics did not. That's the game. Milwaukee's best player played well. Celtics best player played like ass. You want to be a stud. You want to be in the MVP conversation. You want to complain that you're not getting bonuses for making all NBA. You got to put up better performances in games like this, and that's what Tatum's got to do.
Don't complain about the refs, though. If you're Tatum, you can say, well, if I was getting calls, I would have got 40 points today. No, buddy. You missed tons of shots. You looked lackadaisical out there. You didn't do enough outside of scoring. Like, unlike our friend Derek White, as we know now, John, we were told, he does so much more than score. If you're you need to be more like Derek White on those nights.
Have a 0-point game, but have a Derek White 0-point game. Okay.
Yeah. There's 0-point games and there's Derek White 0-point games.
Which are a different breed of 0-point games.
Which now we know.
Yeah, now we know the difference. So we've been schooled.
You are the worst.
I am bad.
You're the worst trolls in the world. My gosh.
I love it. I was going all day with that stuff.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Derek White.
so that is what it is. There where, it's Tatum. He's just got to be better.
Gotta be better. I mean, and listen, I don't know if he's coming to the podium yet, but I would hope that he would admit just as much that he knows he needs to be better. I imagine it's almost like doesn't even need to be said. It's understood.
It'd be nice for him to say it, though. It would be nice for him to say that this was on me.
For sure, and I think he must know that. It's pretty glaring out there. Yeah. So whatever he was going through today, he's got a day to shake it off and then get back out there, like you said, Sherrod. Quick turnaround here. I still like the Celtics' chances and tying.
So do I.
I really do. I didn't see anything today from the Bucks that was like, wow, the Celtics are in big trouble. I mean, obviously Giannis had his 40-point game, whatever. You almost expect him to end up with 30-plus points every game, and especially with the way that they're letting him play. Fine, they still have an opportunity, and they still have what it takes to beat this Bucks team. They're deeper than this Bucks team is. So I still like their chances in Game 4, even up the series, take home court back, come back to Boston with some momentum. There's no reason for me to like Sherrod. It hasn't really changed my opinion on this series. I picked Celtics in 6. I mean, I also said that I could see it going 7. No, wait, I think I said I could. I forget if I said 5 or 7 now. But point being, I still like the Celtics in this series, even though they're down 2-1 right now. They just need their superstar players to play like superstar players. And speaking of superstar players,
let's bring in our man.
Speaking of
here.
Superstar players,
hold on one second. Let's bring in Steve Jobs here.
What's going on? You got me?
Yes, Bobby Manning covering the game in Milwaukee. You were just in the locker room, Bobby, or talking to the Celtics. Just tell us who's talking, what's the vibe in there, what are they talking about, and then we'll get your takes on the game.
What are you wearing?
Ime with some of his pointed criticism of officials we've heard all year, not normally a rip the refs guy. He was furious about that call on Smart. Smart followed it up, questioning why would I do a rip through move if we're down 2? I'm going to shoot a 3 there, obviously down 3. So you watch that replay, hard to argue with any of the arguments against it. And
I don't understand how that's not a shooting foul. It's anybody but Marcus Smart gets that. I'm so confused.
And you were talking about the Giannis situation, John. It got out of control tonight.
It's out of control.
No sense whatsoever as defenders of what to do, where to position yourself, and what's what in a charge block. There's really no charges, it seems like, when it comes to him.
No.
So makes it really hard on the defense.
Here's Ime talking about it. I'll put up Ime's comments about the officials here. Hold on. Here he comes.
Any calls challenging? I think especially the one that would have possibly been the most foul, putting it back down, granted, just the amount of physicality that he was able to put in, foul calls. So, just how do you kind of weigh that?
Yeah, you're weighing foul calls versus time to score, and we used ours on the block charge on Grant, which would have been his 5th, and would have made a 2-point game. So we like to save it more toward the end, but their explanation is if they don't fall down, they don't call it. So I got to flop a little more.
So we referenced that earlier, Bobby. Ime basically saying, the refs are telling them if they're not falling, we're not calling it. So you're just basically allowing Giannis to just bash into people, and obviously that was the case. It does feel like they've kind of lost a little bit of control of it, but I also think Celtics. You only see these guys a couple times a year. Giannis didn't play in 2 of the games that they played against the Bucks this year. You just forget that this is just how it goes every game with a player like him. That's the style. That's just what happens. It's physical, it's contact, and as Sherrod said, most of the 50-50 calls aren't going to go your way here. It's just something you got to kind of get used to, even though I do feel like it's been a tad excessive here because I do think the Celtics defense is so good and they're so good at getting bodies in front of him that Giannis is leaning even more on initiating contact to clear space because that's the only way he's going to get to where he wants to go. So it's even more egregious than it normally is in a normal Giannis game. That's just my take on it.
Yeah, and you saw it in the 3rd quarter last game. That's when he started to shift in that direction when he wasn't getting the separation from Horford and Grant in the post. Thought he picked his matchups a lot more effectively in this game too. They did a much more decisive job of forcing the Celtics to switch in the post. He got a look at Smart, got looks at Brown and Tatum throughout, and he was able to dominate in those individual matchups. And now a lot of other times he was just sort of throwing himself inside and forcing the officials to make a call. That question you put up there from me, I was asking like three things at once, but one of the things I was getting at there is that there was that play where he just smashed through Grant.
Yep.
Sent him to the ground. He made him challenge that. He ends up challenging an offensive foul that was Grant's fifth, and I believe he lost that, right?
Yeah.
So picking your spots with the challenge is going to be so key in this series. And
yeah, someone tell Bud, because that was
yeah.
one of the worst challenges in history. But anyway,
that was a perplexing one. But
my God,
we're still scratching our heads about that one. It made absolutely no sense at all.
Borderline fireable. Like if that's something you think is a good idea under those circumstances, one, it was obviously not going to be overturned. Even if it was, not friggin' worth it. But yeah, beside the point, that was so friggin' dumb. Bringing in Josue as well. What's up, Josue?
What's going on, guys? Sorry.
Yeah, Josue.
A
little bright
behind you.
Coming in hot. The hot boys in where are we? Milwaukee.
These guys look good. You guys look good.
Hairline's looking pretty good. I'm not gonna
lie.
But yeah,
I like it all.
I'll let you guys.
I'm gonna go grab Jalen. I'll let Josue check in.